Repeat education. Today we're going to help you understand consumers' choice and utility maximization. So, in order to understand this unit, you need to know three concepts: utility, law of diminishing marginal utility, and utility maximizing rule of consumers. First up, utility. So utility is one of the most important concepts in economics. It refers to the total satisfaction received from consuming a good or service. The unit of utility is, guess what? Unit. So when you're studying utility, you will come across two definitions. First one is marginal utility, or MU, which is the change in the utility from an increase in the consumption of that good or service. The other one is total utility, or TU, which is the aggregate summations of satisfaction received from the consumption of a good or service. And to review today is the law of diminishing marginal utility. The law describes that as you consume more of one product, the marginal utility you get from that product decreases. I know that's very literal. So let's take an example. Suppose that you are an orange lover. The first orange that you eat would give you the highest satisfaction. The second orange that you eat would give you somewhat satisfaction, but it's not as high as the first one. The third orange you eat would not give you as high as satisfaction as the second one. And if you eat 8 oranges in a row, you would not be loving to eat oranges for the whole week. And that is how the law of diminishing marginal utility works. In other words, your satisfaction will decrease as you consume more oranges. By understanding the law of diminishing marginal utility, you will be able to explain and then draw the MU graph and its relation with TU graph. Let's take a look at the law again. The law says, as you consume more of one product, the marginal utility you get from that product decreases, which means the MU graph is always decreasing. And when you take a look at the MU graph, when MU decreases, TU is increasing but with a decreasing slope. Then, when MU reaches its zero value, TU reaches its maximum point, and then it decreases when MU is negative. The last concept that we're going to discuss is the utility maximizing rule. The rule states that the consumer's money income should be allocated so that the last dollar on each product purchased yield the same amount of extra marginal utility. So in mathematics language, the marginal utility of A over the price of A should be equal to the marginal utility of B over the price of B. So this rule would help you find the best combinations of good and service that give the most satisfaction. So let's take an easy example. Suppose that you have $10 to spend. You are considering to buy apples, A, and oranges, O. The price of 1 pound of apples is 1. The price of 1 pound of orange is $2, and this is hypothetical only. You are given the total utility table and you're asked to find the best combinations. So when you know that when you see the word best combinations, you know that you would use the utility maximizing rule. In order to use the utility maximizing rule, you would have to know the marginal utility and the price of each product. The example only gives you the price and the total utility, so we're going to use the total utility to find the marginal utility for each product. And marginal utility is, by definition, the change in the utility from an increase in the consumption of a good or service. So, by definition, the first unit's marginal utility for apples is 10, because before the first unit, your total utility for apples is 0. The second unit of the marginal utility for apples is 18 minus 10 equals to 8. Similarly, you can calculate the rest of marginal utility for apples and oranges. Now, given the fact that the price of apple is 1 and the price of oranges is 2 per unit, you can easily calculate the MU over P for apples and oranges. Once you have done that, our job now is to compare the MU over P value by the higher value until you run out of money. We're now left with the columns of quantity, MU over P for apples and oranges. We are going to spend all of our money on apples and oranges. So for the first unit, we can see that the MU over P of orange, which is 12, is higher than that of apples, which is 10. That is why we will buy the first unit of orange. And as orange costs you $2 per unit, you are now left with 10 minus 2 equals to $8. Now, you are comparing the first units of apples to the second units of orange. You can see that they are equal. This means that you would buy both of them. So the first unit of apple would cost you an additional $1, and the second unit of orange would cost you an additional of $2. Now, you are left with $5. You will keep doing this step until your remaining money amount is 0, which is when you buy the fourth unit of oranges and the second unit of apples. This means that your utility maximized combinations is 2 apples and 4 oranges. That is the end of our discussion today. Thank you for joining Peer to Education. And for ICM student, if you need more help, you can go to your ICM student portal and book a one-on-one appointment with us. Next week, we're going to discuss about elasticity and taxation. So stay tuned and good luck for your exam.